Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Gail Carson. Welcome to Living Regret Free, a program that shows you how to live a better and more joyful life. As an added bonus, I invite you to listen to an introduction to my Mindset Matters program, which ties into this so well. Go to www.sobmindset.com. It's free, and I know you will enjoy it. If you'd like to contact me personally, drop me a line at gailcarson13@gmail.com or go to my website, www.spunkyoldbroad.com, and sign up for my weekly newsletter. I'm very interested in our next guest. Her name is Thelma Reese, and she is the author of The New Senior Woman and The New Senior Man. And she's creator of the blog elderchicks.com. She's a retired professor of English and education, the former spokesperson for Hooked on Phonics, and has long been active in national and Philadelphia-based educational and cultural initiatives. Um, Thelma, I'm interested in what you do. I know you feel that seniors are today's boldest experts and activists. So you talk about Dr. Fauci, who I adore. He's 79, Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi, who I also like, and some people want to pull down 80. And of course, who can substitute for Ruth Bader Ginsburg, our wonderful Supreme Court Justice? She's 87. None of them are slowing down. So welcome to the call and welcome to the show. And let me get you started by asking you why you say retirement should be redefined as unretirement.
Well, I not only think it can be redefined as unretirement in a piece that I've just written, which I'll send you, I say it can be redefined as seniority. That's what we've reached. We've reached an age of seniority where our experience and judgment and history of having made decisions, some good, some bad, having learned from all of them, make some of us worth listening to. And that's what my new book, How Seniors Are Saving the World, and that's about retirement activists being our rescuers, has come to be. Because the people you name, that I name too, but not in the book, are Fauci and others. There are many such, thank heavens, who are still with us. But there are seniors all around us who are doing wonderful things, who have started and are maintaining or are working with or putting time and effort in without any notice, perhaps, into causes that are making the world better for all of us.
Well, I know that you say that many times that people who are in their 60s to 90s think of themselves in the twilight years, but that's when many of them come into power. So how are seniors mastering things like social media so they can build movements and they can take a stand?
Well, some of them are and some of them aren't. Some of them are. And of course, this book, How Seniors Are Saving the World, is about 24 people who range in age from 60 to 95, who are considered seniors in our society, are doing wonderful things. They didn't all start out, of course, using social media or computers. All of them have adapted. Those of us who adapt to use them. People who haven't adapted to the technology are still being useful. Many are. So it's a wonderful thing if you can be, and it's also a wonderful thing for your own development if you can be, because the point is that we do keep developing. We don't stop learning. We don't stop developing. Those of us who are fortunate enough to reach older age without dementia can contribute greatly to our society. And heaven knows if there was ever a time and that society needed more and more people making important contributions. It's now.
Well, I totally agree with you, Thelma. And I'm 82, so I fit into that category. And I go like, you can't believe. I mean, I've got more energy than most people half my age. So I totally agree. And I have to tell you, I have had to adapt to technology. I remember the first time I turned on the computer, I thought it was going to blow up. And now I'm doing these Zoom meetings 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times a day. There's still a lot I cannot do. And if something goes wrong, I have to tell you, I don't know how to solve it. But, I'm doing as well as I can. So,
I know just what you mean, and I just turned 87. So I can tell you that when I get stymied and I call my friend Zahir, I tell him to please leave his armor outside the door because it makes too much noise when he's clanking up to my office, still wearing it.
oh,
But
that's
he
fun.
is my knight, and he leaves the horse outside, of course. But that's who I need, and I always have someone to turn to. So
Well,
I don't hesitate. I don't hesitate, and I don't think any senior should, to ask for help when I need it. Just as I no longer hesitate if I get to a street corner and I'm feeling just a little shaky, I'll be happy to ask for a hand.
well, it's funny. I really envy those people who have grandchildren who are, like they're 10 years old and they can tell you what to
Right,
do. I don't
right.
have my grandchildren or my great grandchildren living near me, but how is purpose and meaning recharging love and intimacy for seniors? You say that's a very big factor.
Well, it's an enormous factor, and we have never been in a better time for that question because the thing is, nobody has to be as isolated as seniors once were. And some very simple things that people can learn to do. And that's not what the book is about, of course, but there are simple things that people can learn to do. And it's almost a no-brainer for someone to be able at least to to see their kids. Our kids also are. I'm on the East Coast, they're on the West Coast. My husband and I see them weekly at least on Zoom. And it's an easy thing to do. You just have to do about 2 clicks on your computer when the message comes to you. So that part is easier. And connecting with other people in general is easier, even in this time of pandemic when we're not face to face in a room anymore. But I think the most important thing is not so much the technology, it's the involvement. It's the knowing that you're working on something or helping with something that connects you to other people. And it's at a time of life when we have to face it, we are losing people in our lives, our contemporaries. When that starts to happen, we all need other connections. And those connections are really what keep most of us going and add meaning and purpose to our lives.
Well, that's true. I mean, everybody is so sad about, their parents who are in nursing homes and they can't go to see them. And even the ones that aren't, the
Mm-hmm.
ones that are living in their own homes, you still can't get together unless, of course, my sister gets together with her family, but they get together in the backyard. They're socially distanced,
Mm-hmm.
they don't get close together, etc.
Right.
But you also say that volunteering is transforming and being transformed by people in their 60s to 90s. How is that happening as well?
Well, just the sheer number, the change in demographic of what we have now, which is a cohort of older people who bring talent and ideas and experience, most of all, to problems that still need or now newly need solving or are surfacing as needing solving in our society. We can bring so much. And so you're not only helping whatever the cause is. Your involvement is helping yourself because finding that meaning is so enriching to the individual. Another thing, Gail, that it does is it takes your mind off other things about yourself that you're beginning to worry about. It's been very interesting to me. This sequestering has been fascinating. And someone just asked me in a newspaper interview about some changes. And I said, it's fascinating how many fewer calls I think seniors are making to doctors. Things that would have rushed you to a doctor before, you think, I can wait till my exam. I can wait till I have another appointment, because you're busy with something else and being kept interested in something else other than your own aches and pains, which come to us all. And so you're diverted. Your mind is diverted, and you can wait with things that you didn't used to wait with. And the fact that it's harder to get to somebody is making us not bother quite as much with some things. It's making us reevaluate a lot in our lives.
Well, it's interesting because so many doctors now are doing teleconferences. So many seniors have had to learn how to navigate technology just to talk to their doctors.
Right. Right. I just turned down the possibility because I feel well enough to wait until I can really have a full-on, hands-on examination.
Well, you also say that modern life has upended notions of post-retirement security. And I don't know if that means life has got very much more expensive. I don't know if that means things are popping up we don't know about. What is your philosophy on that?
Well, I think things definitely are popping up that we didn't know about, but also opportunities are popping up, and the opportunity to involve ourselves with what interests us now, and to recognize that there's a whole world perhaps that we hadn't thought about before. If you do have access to and enough skill to at least get on a computer or on an iPad, you can never be bored. I mean, you can look up anything and everything. When physical travel stops, you're able to go any place, read about it, think about it, dream about it, look at pictures of it, have all kinds of experiences that were never available before. It's just like our watching things on television or movies. That whole way of entertaining ourselves has changed so dramatically just in the last few years. For most of us, we're able to be entertained so easily at home. So life has changed tremendously, and the idea is to be curious about those changes and see how we roll with them. We've rolled with everything else up to now, or else we wouldn't have gotten here. We wouldn't still be here.
Well, that's true. That's true. And there's a lot of wisdom that's in all these people who are reaching that age. And it's good that finally people are recognizing that there's still some viability there and there's a lot of knowledge there. But you also say, and certainly we know this from where we are today, why putting seniors in nursing homes is not only dangerous, but it's our loss. I want you to talk more about that, because we certainly know what's happened in these nursing homes, but your philosophy is also different in terms of why it's just not good in general.
Well, there are times when you have no other choice, when someone is really unable totally, for whatever reason, to be taken care of. That's not what the book is about at all. In fact, I don't go into that at all in the book. But since you asked me, as another senior, I can say that still living in a 4-story house and we haven't put in a stair lift yet. My husband and I work on different floors, he on the third and I on the second. And our next step, if we can ever afford it and need it, would be to just have someone in the house with us rather than go somewhere else. But I do think that as long as people can make decisions for themselves, they should. I don't think they should be treated as children by their children. So a lot depends on the viability of the senior himself or herself. But I am not totally anti-nursing home. I think there are times that people need such things, but I hope I never do, and I hope you never do.
Well, I can't even imagine living in a 4-story house, Thelma. I mean, wow.
Well, I have to say, we never go to the fourth floor. We think somebody may be living up there, but we don't know who.
I love that. Well, I always had 2 stories. In fact, in a way, I had a 3 or 4-story house because my husband built a spiral staircase that led to the roof, and yeah, people would go up on the roof and so forth.
Great.
But it's interesting because this book, How Seniors Are Saving the World. I'm glad to hear that because so many people say, everything is now based for and by the young, that the new generations that are coming up don't value people like you and I.
Excuse me, but I'm working with some very young people. I'm working on an intergenerational course with a professor at Temple University. We're working with undergrads. I've got a 19-year-old who met me on a webinar I did. He's in Canada. I have conversations with him that are fully as professional and fascinating as any contemporaries I have, who is interested in what's happening with older people, what's happening with this part of the population that has so much value and has so much to contribute. Each of the people in this book, by the way, and they are a very diverse group. They are diverse racially, ethnically, in every way. And each is totally different from the other, but each has found some way to change the world as they see it. And whether it was based on personal tragedy or personal belief or just wanting to do something good in their lifetime or express some wonderful attribute of their own, each one is inspiring. And the best part, I think, is that at the end of each of those 24 chapters is a little section called How to Connect. So the reader is able to connect with that person and or with the cause, get involved if they want. And I think it can change the reader's life as well.
Well, it's wonderful that you found someone like that. And it's wonderful that he's perpetuating this whole thing of why seniors are valuable, because I happen to think that there are a lot of young people who love us and
absolutely
who take care of us and want us around them. Of course, there's those that don't.
In the first book that I wrote about the new senior woman, my late first partner, Bobby Fleischer, always said that there's always a bond, or usually a bond, between grandparents and grandchildren because they have a common enemy.
Right. That's right. No, you're right. You're absolutely, I remember hearing that, and it's true. And, I was telling another person that I was speaking with today that in my, I have a virtual SOB club. I'm known as Dr. Gail SOB, Spunky Old Broad. And I have this Spunky Old Broad club on Facebook. And that I always ask them when they want to join, what is your biggest pain? What is your biggest joy? And the biggest joy in the primary answer. I mean, there have been other answers, but
Yeah.
are the grandchildren. They really adore the grandchildren. And of course, grandchildren are
Yeah.
great because normally you can send them back, when it's
Right.
time.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
there is also a lot, there's like over 4 million grandparents who are raising their grandchildren, which
Oh,
is
yes.
interesting because
Oh, yes.
the parents have either
Absolutely.
gone the way of who knows what and or are not able to do so. So there's,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah. And not only that, I think that right now, when we're watching our grandchildren, we have twin grandchildren who just had their virtual college graduation. And the time that they are walking into is very scary in a way that it's never been before for young people because the world is in chaos in many ways. It's not just the virus, but all kinds of tremendous changes going on and upsets to what they expected coming out of college. And I think for all of us who care about our grandchildren, if we don't want to make the world better, who does?
exactly. That's exactly right. And it's interesting because um, I, in fact, I have great grandchildren now, and I have to tell you,
Oh, how wonderful.
yeah, it's really amazing. And of course, they're different than their parents, and
Right,
their grandmothers are my kids. So
right.
it's a whole chain. It's a whole chain.
Wow, wow.
So
Lucky kids, though.
yeah, well, we've got about 5 minutes left, Thelma. Let me ask you, how can people find you? What would you like them to know? I don't know if you have a free gift for them. I know you've got this blog, the elderchicks.com. Uh, Tell
Right.
us a little bit about where they can find you.
Well, they can just go to Amazon or they can go to Google and type in Thelma Reese or Dr. Thelma Reese, Reese. On Amazon, the new book and the others will come right up. We're very excited about it. We're just talking to people at the Stanford Longevity Center about it because the reviewer whose blurb is on the back is working with them. And I think that even reading the blog might be fun and instructive, and people share ideas, all kinds of ideas about their lives, how they're handling this time in their lives. And I think that all three books might be of interest. So you can find me easily on Google. And, when you get to be 87 and you've remained active, there's a lot to say.
Well, that's
It
true.
all,
And
it all starts to add up, doesn't it?
well, your website is www.elderchicks.com. And then you
Right.
have another,
That's the blog. There is also a www.senioractivism.com website now. But I think you could get to know me best with this new book, How Seniors Are Saving the World. And I think there's a lot to identify with for every person who reads it. And I'm excited about it. I have to say, I've been excited about each book, but this one that I did with BJ Kittredge, who's a young person, she's only 75, is very special. And I think the time for it turns out to be right now.
well, it's probably a very compelling book for a younger person to read as well. In other words,
Yes,
yeah, because, this might challenge and invigorate some of our younger people to get more active with what seniors are doing and maybe volunteer their time to help seniors in a lot of different
exactly.
ways. Yeah.
In fact, that's what this intergenerational course does, and they're using it as a text. So I think it might be really fascinating for young people,
Well, that's wonderful,
or at
Thelma.
least at least to buy for their grandma or
Yes,
grandpa.
exactly. Well, I can tell you we've delighted in having you. I hope people will go. You've got 3 different books that she's produced that you might want to look at: How Seniors Are Saving the World, The New Senior Woman, The New Senior Man. Her blog is elderchicks.com. Her other website is senioractivism.com.
Right. Mhm.
Thelma, thank you so much for being with us today. It has been delightful, and it
Thank
just goes
you,
to show
Gail.
you folks, 87 is not old. 87,
No, it
she's
isn't.
still writing and she's still doing, and she lives in a 4-story house with her husband. And although they
Right.
don't climb to the 4th floor, she does go up and down the stairs, and that's important.
Right.
So
Thanks
thank you.
so much.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. It's been a delight.
Hi, this is Dr. Gail, and I wanted you to know I have a whole bunch of other things to offer you. If you go to spunkyoldbroad.com, you will see an array of SOB stuff for sale and all our latest products and additions. If you're interested in getting on TV, I have a brand new course, Get on TV. And if you want to start your own business, you'll want my SOB Guide to Business Success. I know you'll love them all. I guarantee it.
Thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. I choose my guests carefully, so if you have someone you'd like me to interview, please drop me a line at gailcarson13@gmail.com. In the meantime, check out my intro program, Mindset Matters, at www.sobmindset.com. See you next week.